have the biggest puddle. And, it's really fun to see a crew just go after it and leave it to the point where there's only one stroke left at the end of the course.
Yeah, and I think that's getting into, especially in the eights, talking about the different positions. You have those guys in the engine room that can just, go crazy, go nuts, and then, you have that counterbalance. It takes an entire crew to make that happen.
But here we're at we got back to the oars women here, and the U.S. is just one of the most impressive feats of what opportunity for young women to row. And I think that you have these young women that are looking at these opportunities to try and make a statement here in the U17. The coxswains are talking to the bow seats for those on the shore. The coxswain tells the bow and two to move that bow so they have a straight lane down the course. So there's a lot of conversation. Like if you look in lane 6 right now, you can see the 2 seat has bow seat oar to tap it around for a little bit more leverage. So there's so much precision and accuracy. The coxswain has her hand up. She's letting the crew know, do not worry. They are not going to start this race until we're ready. I will ensure that you have the best position to go straight ahead in here. So the amount of teamwork that goes from athlete number 1 all the way in the coxswain seat to the bow seat, all those 9 women are working together to put themselves in the best position to start this race right now.
All hands are down now. We shall hear from the umpire soon. Looks like some boats are still sculling around.
I love how you quiet your voice like you're there.
Well, this is the time right here. I like the audience into the sound. You could just hear it there. It's that once that alarm goes off, that bell rings, you can hear them as the athletes press down. So here we are in the women's U17 8 Final C. We have in lane 1, Ursuline. In lane 2, Team Tampa. In lane 3, San Diego Rowing Club. In lane 4, White Rock. In lane 5, Mount Baker. In lane 6, Chicago. And in lane 7, Milwaukee.
I just love where all these teams come over from all over our country and unite here in Sarasota, and we get a really good cross-section of how much rowing is important across the whole country. It's very rarely that we get to see this much talent in one place.
Yeah, I was speaking about this yesterday, the fact that we have finally figured out we have these different regions and we bring them all together, and it truly is a national championship. We have scholastic crews, we have club crews, we have all of our utes together in one place to do battle. And so here in this race, it looks as though Milwaukee is out. I've got to stop saying that. It seems as though Milwaukee is out to the lead. And we'll see if they can hold on to it. Now, coming out of the start, the crews shorten their stroke sometimes to get that boat up to speed. We talked about how heavy these 8s are, what it takes to get them up to speed. But once they find their rhythm, there's so much momentum in those boats. And so it'll be interesting to see if these young ladies can carry that momentum on throughout the rest of the race.
In the start of the 8 is incredibly important, and I know from personal experience you may not win a race off the start, but you can lose it. And so it's really one of those things where it's like you have that ATP energy system, right?
Yeah.
Adenosine triphosphate, and that is a limited energy system, but it allows you to be really explosive. And so these athletes need to know exactly how many hard strokes they can to get that boat up to rhythm. But then they got to go into the point where they let that aerobic base take over.
Yeah.
Because it really is an aerobic sport, and you got to be able to let those big lungs, you do all that mileage, all that training to have that cardiovascular tank to last a long time. But then you need these pockets of being explosive again, and it really attacks that anaerobic system where they have to have that fast twitch muscle. And that's why rowers really are. They are the most fantastic athletes in the world. They are fit, they are strong, they are powerful, and they're coordinated. And here in the 8s, we have the most amount of teamwork. It is the consummate team sport across all sports, and that's why it's my favorite.
Well, I'm sure there's some volleyball players that would disagree with you.
They can disagree all they want. They can disagree all they want. I love competition. You want to tell me which is a better team sport? Please come bring it to me.
All right. We're gonna get back to racing. We are excited for these 8s, and they are excited to be racing. It looks as though Milwaukee is still in the lead as we come through the 750, but it looks as though there is a crowd of boats right there in the middle testing this crew. And so right there beside them in lane 6, we have Chicago B. And they are right there. And you can see LaBelle Fort from White Rock just poking out of the screen. We have this great shot of Milwaukee looking nice and long, getting those oars in the water, trying to accelerate that blade before they're pushing backwards. All the things that are important to make the boat go fast.
Yeah, these athletes are really making a really distinguished push to get to that 1,000-meter. They want to be on terms. They want to control the race. They want to say, hey, we have lane 7. We've earned it. We know we have the favorite conditions. We have to go.
Yeah, and the question is though, you know, you have all of these boats. We have sort of a seed as we come through this 1,000. We can see things starting to shake out. Milwaukee's definitely establishing themselves a little bit, but we have Chicago B followed closely by White Rock. And so right now the question is, can White Rock continue the progress that they've made in chipping away at that Chicago B lead to put them in themselves where they maybe even put some pressure on Milwaukee? I'm not sure that's going to be possible. We'll see. The coaches peloton up there. Stay safe. But now we have Milwaukee, this great shot of this crew pressing on, these impressive young ladies in this C final of the 2025 Youth Championships, being pressed now by Chicago B.
Yeah, Chicago B is still in it. You know, Milwaukee is trying to break that contact. In the 8, when you can get a length ahead of somebody, you're about 3 seconds ahead of them. And 3 seconds is amazing. Like over 6 minutes, 1% difference is 3.6 seconds, and that's open water. So these young women right now with that lead have an amazing lead. But did it cost them too much? We have 7:50 to go. We're going to see if they are sprinters as well as starters. And
yeah,
if they are, they should be home free.
Yeah, and that's always the big question when you get out and you get that lead. And I've said this.
Bobble there. We're getting little bobbles, and we'll see.
Well, yeah, you know, and there you can see maybe a little fatigue setting in. I think I think the question is, once again, this is where your training comes into place. Can you hold on? You know, are you prepared? You know, it's been a hot couple of days. Have they hydrated correctly? Have they gotten enough to eat? All of these questions go in. And, you know, I'm interested to see if this Chicago B can start to press at all. Right now, Milwaukee is continuing to hold on. They're continuing to hold that speed. But over there in lane 1, we have Ursuline and Team Tampa. We have San Diego, and we have White Rock. We have Mount Baker. Will these crews be able to get themselves back into the conversation as we come through this 1,000-meter mark? It looks as though there is some competition heating up. In lane 5, Mount Baker is battling with White Rock, putting pressure on Chicago B. Can Chicago B use that energy to help them continue to move on Milwaukee?
I mean, that's such a great landscape to be in, and you're right. Can Chicago B feel the pressure of not wanting to slip away from that second place to push into Milwaukee? And again, we're in the last 250 here in about 10 strokes. And that last 250, we've seen mistakes cost crews the win. We've also seen crews capitalize. So let's see what happens as these crews start to get to that last 250 in the 8. Because it's so fast, it's only about 20 to 25 strokes. So they're really into this max effort here.
Yeah, and I think, once again, it's kind of hard to tell from this angle what's going on with that Ursuline boat over there. Are they in this race? We shall see shortly as we come into these red buoys. The last 250 meters of this race, we will know if Milwaukee has been able to hold on. Is Chicago being pressed by White Rock in Mount Baker? Can Mount Baker make that move? Right now, it looks as though they are moving well. Right now, we are in that last 250 meters. This is the last race for right now, and so this is their season right here.
Yeah, we have a break here, fans. So if you want to watch some good rowing, get out to that shore, cheer on these crews. And it does look like Milwaukee are both starters and their sprinters. They are coming across the line first. It does look like Chicago B cannot slip up, though. Mount Baker is not giving up. And we do have that Ursuline crew that's not giving up. It's going to be a little bit of a different than the other race, but we do have a clear winner here coming into the last couple of strokes, and that will be Milwaukee.
And Mount Baker is continuing to press, but have they left it for too late? It looks as though Chicago B is going to hold on, followed by Mount Baker, followed by White Rock. But over Ursuline is pressing hard. Will they be able to take out White Rock? Oh,
and we
that's
have a race here, too.
One.
Right now, San Diego, Team Tampa, everybody's still in it. Oh, that was tight. I couldn't even tell who that last place finish was. And for the last race before the break, we got exactly what we want here for. Doesn't matter what place these athletes come in, they race to the last stroke and then bow ball to bow ball. And I love the fact that nobody has given up today. Not one athlete has given up today.
So there you guys have it, straight from the mouth of the philosopher and sage, Dan Walsh, Olympian and friend. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back after a break and enjoy some of the I'm going to call them halftime shows. We got halftime in Rome.
That's great. Thank you, Akil. I enjoyed this.